Let's try to enhance the code present inside our home component. I'm going to create a couple of more state variables with the help of useStateHook. Let me copy the same line 2 more times. Followed by, I'm going to mention the second variable name as loading. I'll explain the purpose of these variables in few minutes. Let me mention the function name as setLoading, followed by the default value that I want to assign to this loading is true. In the similar lines, I want to create one more state variable with the name error, and this function should have the name as setError. The initial value for this error I'm going to assign as false. The reason why I have created these two new state variables is with the help of this loading variable, I'm going to show a message to the end user saying that the products are being loaded. Please wait for a second. Once I receive the response from the backend, the loading message will disappear from the UI. In the place of loading message, we are going to display the product details. In the similar lines, I'm going to use this error state variable to display a message to the end user in the case of any errors. Let's go to the fetch products function. Here, first, I'm going to have a try block followed by catch block as well. The catch block is going to receive an error object from the Axios library. After the catch, I'm going to have finally block as well. First, let me move all these code into the try block. If there is any error happens during the invocation of my REST API, those error details will be available under this error object. That's why inside the error catch block, I'm going to mention a simple logic where I'm trying to set the error details by invoking the setError method. So here it should not be false, it should be null. By default, I'm going to have null object. But in the case of any error happens, I'm trying to send the error details from the error object. Inside the error object, there will be response object followed by data followed by message. Usually Axios library, it is going to maintain the error details under this message. In case if this message or any of the objects inside the error are null, I'm going to assign this default value failed to fetch products, please try again. Since we are trying to set these error details with the help of this setError method, the updated error details will be available inside this error variable. Once the error details are populated, inside the try block, I'm going to invoke the setLoading function and set the true value. Anyway, by default, the value is going to be true, but I'm trying to set that true again one more time as soon as we are trying to invoke the REST API. Once the REST API is invoked, I want to reset this loading to false. I'm going to do the same inside the finally block by setting the value as false. I have written all the logic related to my loading and error. Let's try to use these variables and try to return some content into the UI page. Just below my function, I'm going to write an if block. The condition that I'm going to check here is if loading is true, I'm going to return a JSX content, which is this div. Inside this div, I'm trying to display some content saying that loading products, and these are all the Tailwind styling utility classes. In the similar lines, I want to write one more if condition where I'm going to check if the error object is not null. If it is not null, I'm going to return a JSX code which is going to have a div statement along with the error details. Here first I'm trying to have some static text with the name error, and to this text I'm trying to assign the value available inside the error variable. The error variable we have updated inside the catch block. This is a very good optimization that we have done to our homepage. Let's save this file and try to test the scenario one more time in the browser. Here, if I try to refresh this page, for a very fraction of seconds, you will be able to see is loading message. To see that message properly, I can go to the network and enable this slow 4G. This time, if I refresh this page, you will be able to see the message, but the message also is disappearing very quickly. What I can do is, I can close this. And inside the backend, I can try to keep a breakpoint inside the products controller. So here, just before this return statement, I'll keep the breakpoint and refresh the page here. Here you will be able to see loading products. Now, if I release this breakpoint, immediately you will be able to see the response. So that's the purpose of loading variable inside the home page. Now, let me show you the demo of error as well. To show you the demo of error, I'll stop the backend application and try to refresh this page. This time you'll be able to see there is an error message displayed saying that failed to fetch products, please try again. Once I restart my application, the error is going to be resolved. Let me refresh the page and release this breakpoint. And with that, I'm going to see the proper successful response. I hope you're clear with the optimizations that we have done inside the home.jsx. Before I try to close this lecture, let me share one important point related to Spring Data JPA. Previously, I missed explaining this point. Spring Data JPA supports couple of annotations which you can use on top of your Spring Boot main class. The annotations are at enable JPA repositories followed by at entity scan. To these two annotations, you need to mention the packages where you have defined all your entities and all your repository interfaces. But using these annotations and mentioning the package names is completely optional if you are maintaining the entity package and repository package under the main package where your Spring Boot main class is present. So my Spring Boot main class is present under the com.easybytes.easystore. Since I'm trying to maintain these entity and repository packages as a sub package under this main package, I don't have to use these annotations. These are completely optional. That's why I'm trying to comment here. In case if you are maintaining these entity classes and repository interfaces outside of these main package in a different package, you need to mention those package details against these annotations. Just like how we are mentioning the package details to the component scan, very similarly for the enable JPA repositories annotation, you need to provide the repository package details, and for these entity scan annotation, you need to provide the entity package details. The details of these two annotations I also mentioned inside the slides for your reference. If you try to recall what we have done inside this section, first we started with the discussion of Spring Boot. Inside the Spring Boot, we discussed all the core concepts like auto configuration, what are starter projects inside Spring Boot, how to create REST APIs using Spring Boot, what is the H2 database, what is the Spring Data and Spring Data projects available under the Spring ecosystem, how to use them to interact with the database, how to resolve the CORS error. All these core concepts we have discussed to a great extent. Here, I want to give an advice. Please take a break before you try to start a new section. Don't try to rush and complete all sections in a short period. Always taking regular breaks and revising all the concepts again and again. It is going to help you to remember these concepts for a long time. I hope you are enjoying this course. If yes, please spare a minute in providing your valuable feedback to the course.